Hey guys, Ash from Magic Goddess.
Diesel!
Yeah, I'm here with a bunch of people. As you can see, we're in the middle. Maybe you can't see, I don't know, that's just a really creepy candle in the dark area. And we're in a cave somewhere.
Do you think the microwave still works?
So,
Hungry.
we're doing a random conversation.
Hungry.
Today we'll talk
Our
about
toilets are on electricity.
random topics, possibly
I
card
mean-
games, and what we got there is that.
Legit question over here.
Okay, so, Diesel, start us off.
Alright, well, first I'm going to say, Ash, you don't have to whisper. Just because the power's out does not mean that the microphone is gentler.
What if the light hears
than it
us?
used to be. You can talk in normal.
Yeah, talk like a normal human being.
Okay. Alright, so Ash wanted to do this Podversation and was asking us to give topics. And nobody had a topic, but I had one about talking about the new Force of Will issue. If the candle is getting on your nerves, don't worry, that's natural.
It's a candle that has feelings, people, alright?
Only when Chris is manipulating. It's not a Ouija board, Chris, come on. If you knock over that candle...
I don't know, it's telling me to kill Matt. So,
So,
Give me that candle.
fuck off, bro.
one of the topics that we were talking about doing is talking about how Force of Will has changed since the new stuff has come out. For those of you who aren't in the know, recently the Victor's Edge and the Millennia of Aegis set have both come out, as well as the first of the Alice Cluster starter decks in a convenient 2-pack, so that you can get the red and the white decks at the same time.
Look at all these white cards I gotta throw away.
Yeah. The decks definitely are not even in power. It has sculpted a lot of the meta cards from the new stuff that have changed things a lot. Qoheleth, what changes have you seen so far?
This is your topic, asshole. I don't know. Everyone is throwing the red regalia, which gives your ruler swiftness into like everything. So
Yeah.
it leads to like turn 2, turn 3 heals. It can be annoying, but it's not the end of the world, I guess.
Yeah, the red regalia that gives swiftness also can tap to give +2/+2 to any ruler. And it can also be banished to give imperishable to a ruler until end of turn. And it can also discard a copy of itself from your hand to produce 1 Firewell. So a new combo that has surfaced is play the Regalia on turn 1 in a Bahamut deck, discard 1 from your hand for 1 will, play a Hunter, swing, reincarnate it into a Thugga that has 5/5 with swiftness, swing, banish that to flip over Bahamut, swing with Bahamut.
Otherwise known as Baha Blast.
It is known as Baha Blast.
But not the disgusting soda.
Yeah.
If only.
But Baha Blast is very popular right now because there's not a lot of counter to it. If the player playing Bahamut goes first, they're likely to do anywhere between 18 and 2,700 damage to you on turn 1. And then you have to figure out a way to deal with it. That being said, you can deal with it in a lot of ways. You can, if you thunder the creature before they get a chance to sack it for his ability, they're just done. If you use Crime and Punishment on Bahamut, Bahamut Flip is gonna make the Leviathan go away, and they're probably just done because their turn's behind at this point. And it's just not that hard to deal with. Other game-changing stuff that came out in the new stuff. no, that's it. Just what other cards came out that were really important? Oh, Rasputin.
And Vlad.
And Vlad, yeah.
You know, other things.
So Rasputin is a
Yeah, okay.
is a black resonator.
Whoa.
Costs one to play. It's a 100/100, and every time it goes to the graveyard from the field, you can pay 200 life to put it back into your hand. So it makes for a great chump blocker in black, but it also is a reincarnation plotter for Cthulhu's, and that's pretty sweet because Cthulhu's needed the help. It has made Mono Black Cthulhu a decent deck in the current meta, at least at our store. And I like that card a lot, but I don't like the rest of the Bengal set, so I'm having a hard time preparing for it. Chris, go ahead and talk about Vlad since you were mentioning that.
Don't shift the camera towards me. Put it
Oh.
back on the candle.
All it is darkness.
That's right. I want to see the candle. He keeps them safe. I don't know. Vlad's a pretty decent ruler. That doesn't need to J-activate at all because her ruler side is nuts. By paying 2, you can drain and gain for 2. You can do that as many times as you want, as long as you have will open. So basically you just play this game where you just outlast them. You kill their shit, and then any extra will, you drain and gain for 200. It's a big hell swing. If you do with 10 stones, then you're doing 1,000 damage and gaining 1,000. It's a big swing. Huge swing. And it can be difficult that if you take all their resources away over the length of the game, that they just can't come back, and that's how Vlad wins. It's a pretty viable strategy. I haven't played against anything. Any Vlad deck, so I don't know how often it happens and whatnot, but I know that. Put it back on the candle!
Wow.
My experience with Vlad so far has been very similar to my experience with Abdul, which is it just goes in whatever. Put it back on the candle.
Swear to God, you show my face.
Podversation 4. Put it back on the candle. My experience with Vlad has been very much like my experience with Abdul, which is it goes in any deck that you don't know what ruler you're going to put it in. Like, you can go in control or aggro or anything and still be good because its effect is always viable.
Yeah, like there's like Burn Vlad, where you just train it. You just try to get their life to 0 as fast as possible. Or there's Control Vlad, and you know.
And whatever, they all work on.
Yeah.
Also, with MOA coming out, we got the 6 Sages. The 6 Sages are resonators that enter the battlefield with a knowledge counter and get a knowledge counter every time the 6 Sage enters the battlefield. And then they remove knowledge counters to do some particular effect. So the best one, Mujark, gets 2 counters for each time and can remove 1 counter to rest a resonator or remove 2 counters to draw a card. This is a really good stab at a combo deck, and all the versions of it I've seen so far are highly dirtle, where you just set up for turns and turns and turns, and then once you have your setup, you're completely unbeatable.
Until you take 4 thunders to the face.
Yes, I suppose. Opponent's been planning singing this thunders for a special occasion.
Just for you.
But I personally play 6 Sages as a green-blue-white deck. A lot of the builds that have been making it far are 4 or 5 color, using Shadezriest or Alice as their starter. And it's fun to play. I don't know what it's like to play against. I assume it's super annoying.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever actually got my health to 0. I just go, yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much. Most of the time they get to the point where it's just like, oh, I'm not actually going to fight you anymore because at this point I know I've lost. And, you know, it's a good time. Had by all, right? I mean, it's just like, it's really just like law lock in the idea that once you've lost, you don't want to sit there of actually finishing the game. You know that it's over, you just let it go. That deck loses very badly to Baha Blast right now, but it just crushes the old up dual builds, so it's a good time. It's very middle of the road.
I feel like the meta has become very stagnant. Like, it was kind of stagnant-y before with all the Grim and Shadezriest dominance and Abdul, but you saw like occasional one-off decks in the top. But now you mainly see Baja Blast Knights, and there's an occasional, counter deck, like maybe a Snow White or something, that is just made to deal with Baja Blast. But
well, I think though that I feel like the spread has actually gotten wider because people are trying to come up with creative ideas to deal with Baja Blast and the old decks.
Well, I mean, yeah, it used to be a controlled heavy meta. Now it's an aggro heavy meta. So.
Right. It definitely took a sharp shift, and we'll see that at least up until the Alice Cluster comes out, because when the Alice Cluster drops, supposedly there's definitely going to be a Regalia in every color, but there's also supposed to be some sort of hard counter to Regalias, so that your opponent can't just do Bahamut, flip on turn 0, wreck your face. So, I'll be interested to see what that is when it comes out, but I don't know. I'm not incredibly hopeful considering how badly it is destroying the meta currently. There hasn't really been any restriction for Force of Will, or at least from Force of Will Co. Do you think they're going to do any restrictions for Bahamut before the rest of the cluster starts coming out? If they truly believe in their hard counter, I'm going to say no. They'll just let the next couple months ride of people playing what they want to play. A lot of people will get sick of trying to run Bahamut Burn once someone figures out a real good counter to it. Like, personally, I've been playing Bloody Snow White, and that is a fun way to deal with Bahamut while still maintaining all of the things that make Bahamut Blast good. But I think that eventually people will get sick of playing it, or get sick of everyone trying to hard counter them. They'll switch to other stuff, and then it'll be just like normal tournaments in every other game, where that one person who didn't get the memo will be playing Baja Blast, and they'll top because everyone has stopped preparing for it and everyone has stopped playing it, so they get their ranking no problem. But I mean, if the hard counter doesn't work out, I would hope that they try to do some kind of restricted or ban list, or maybe just change the way Regalia work. So, does anyone have any other input to put into the meta discussion for Force of Will?
Nope.
Wait, did you ask me a question when I wasn't paying attention?
I completely agree with Matthias here.
So, then there's been a lot of talk, or been some talk of sustainability and Force of Will, because especially since a card like Thunder was put in the first set available in America, and then how things have kind of escalated in a sense from there, and now you have cards like Lancelot, which should probably not be a 2-mana cost card. Okay, so
There's nothing wrong with Thunder.
my opinion on this matter is Force of Will is definitely going through that awkward adolescence of card games, where they're not exactly sure where they want their game's balance to reside. Every game goes through it at one point or another. one of the funniest things to come out of, I think it's out of MOA, is Hansel and Gretel. It's a 4-cost 4/4 that when it enters the field, draw a card and play a Magic Stone from your Magic Stone deck rested. So it's literally Hansel and Gretel slapped together into one card. Slightly weaker effect on the Gretel because they realize how overpowered Gretel was. But putting the two of them into one card and literally just adding everything together does not a good card make.
Yeah.
And
But
so
Gretel couldn't flip special stones. But that one can.
True, but she could flip every stone that you ever needed.
That's right,
to play.
face up. Yeah.
And it didn't come in rested.
Yeah.
So Gretel is a really good card. Hansel was a mediocre card. This card is just strictly bad.
They
It's
should have probably switched the rarities on them for Gretel and Hansel.
I mean, maybe, but I think that it worked out because at least every player has opportunity to get Gretel. But that's not the point. The point is that they're starting to learn from their mistakes a little bit at a time, but it's going to be a slow process because they're not looking at other games and going, oh, people like playing games up to turn 6 or 7. They don't always want games to end on turn 3, you know? So, like, Lancelot's a really good card right this second. And I don't know how the Alice cluster coming out is going to change that. But Lancelot's a super solid card, sure. If you're running red, sure, run it, you know? But that's no different than if you're running green, why are you not running Gretel? If you're running black, why not run Stoning to Death, you know? These cards have value all the time, so I don't feel like Lancelot is any stronger than some of the cards that already were out.
So you don't think power creep's going to be a problem going forward?
I mean, it depends on where they decide to go with the game. I know from Magic that when it first came out, they just brought everything out not really thinking about how they interact with each other. So, like, one of the first cards to come out was Time Walk, which was 1 in a blue, take an extra turn. And they didn't think maybe 1 in a blue is too cheap for take an extra turn. Maybe that card is entirely too good and everyone will want to run 4. But that's what happened during that meta, and then later they were like, we want people to want to play, but we can't have everybody running the same stupid broken decks. So they experimented, and at this point, cards that take an extra turn cost anywhere between 5 and 8. They have automatic exile effects so that you can only use that one card once per game. It's not like you can keep getting back to it. Or they have ridiculously high buyback costs so that you can't shatter the tournament with them. So they eventually learn their lesson. If Force of Will takes that into account, they might do the same thing. Where, like, Hansel and Gretel shows the idea that they're learning. It's just a question of, will they learn fast enough before the players get bored or get strung out because of power creep?
So do you think that Force of Will is only going to continue to explode in popularity? Or do you think it's past that stage of explosive growth?
I couldn't say. It all depends on what happens. The Alice cluster has Knights of the Round Table in it. A bunch of people really wanted to get into Arthurian lore. If they were to do a swing back to Valhalla in future clusters, I know a lot of players in America really wanted to play during Valhalla, despite the fact that the life break mechanic was terrible. So swinging back to Valhalla and getting rid of life break and instead just playing really good Valhalla cards, people would love that.
I think a Valhalla 2.0 set would be, or block even, would be a pretty good idea.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
It would just like they would probably reuse all the arts, maybe add a few extra arts, or alternate some of the arts for foiling or whatever purposes.
I think that if they do it, it'll be more like Return to Ravnica, where they keep a central theme similar to what Valhalla was, but there won't actually be that many harken back to the original cards.
So an idea that's kind of been thrown around on a lot of forums and social media for Force of Will is to allow rulers to stay past block formats. Now that would make it so that there are more kind of variety in types of decks that can be played. Because some of the argument for that is when you're doing a 2-block format, you can essentially kind of make very similar rulers to rulers before. I mean, some of the pros is that you can balance any that may have been considered broken.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, okay, so in Valhalla there's a ruler that gives an effect called Explode. Explode is the creature blows up and every creature on the board takes its attack power and damage. Or something like that.
Yeah, they haven't reprinted that yet.
Yeah, they haven't. But if that rule were to come into play and Valhalla rulers would be able to be used, a lot of players would go for that at the drop of a hat. If they were to put in some kind of rule like that, I could only assume it would be attached with a restriction list that said, oh yeah, you can use old rulers except for these ones, come on. Like, don't be stupid. But a lot of their fixing seems to be more retroactive. They go, well, Bahamut was too strong, or not Bahamut, Abdul was too strong. So, in an effort to fix the problem with Abdul, we're going to get rid of enter abilities and just create enter the battlefield abilities, like the way ETB abilities work in Magic. And so since we got rid of the enter keyword, Abdul no longer works against those cards. So it takes away from Abdul, but it doesn't make him completely worthless, etc., etc. But there's some rulers from the Valhalla cluster that are just super good all the time. And I'd be worried about people being able to get a hold of those and do something.
Okay, so I got a lot of Force of Will stuff there. I might kind of double back to some of that, but so a lot of things haven't been looking too good for Bushiroad lately. If the rankings of TCG sales and growth are to be believed, I believe in the top 10 we have all 3 Bushiroad games, Cardfight, Waste, and Buddy Fight in order. At the bottom 3 in the 10 list. I mean, depending on how many TCGs or whatever are still in growth periods, that could be considered good or bad that they're still in the top 10, but growth has definitely slowed down a lot, it seems. Cardfight, Weiss, and Buddy Fight. Personally, I don't know how Buddy Fight has been surviving the amount of sets that they've been releasing in English, because I never thought, maybe at least not here, there's a following for it, and the regional seemed kind of barren for it as well. Weiss has always been kind of a collector's type of card game, so it may survive just, as long as they release sets that are interesting to the collectors of that set and the big anime community in the U.S. But Cardfight, I don't know. I don't know if the new G4 meta is good or not. What do you guys think about it?
It sucks.
What meta? What's wrong?
How's your nap?
It was alright. I know Vu was talking a whole bunch, and he said some stuff.
Really?
The stagnation of Bushiroad
Oh, yeah, and how it's in
products.
the bottom of the 3. Well, I don't know much about the Cardfight meta, so I'm going to pass on this one, too.
Give us some input on Waste then.
What are you talking about Cardfight?
We can talk about it, Neil.
Qoheleth, you want to add to this?
Well, I mean, I've been, most of us have been on breaks for Cardfight, but it seems like, after we are on our break, still, people have come in to our local shop and replaced us and brought a few of their friends, so our numbers are still the same. So that means there is still growth, especially in our area. I guess, just them being at the bottom of the list is the fact that it's only meant for a certain group of people to keep buying into it and enjoying the game, and that group is still being discovered, or is being discovered still being discovered and being discovered very slowly. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think Force of Will has a little bit of an advantage, the fact that it's so similar to Magic that it can call a lot of Magic players. Cardfight is a very unique game, and it's only similar to other Bushiroad games. So people that aren't familiar with other Bushiroad games are probably, not as, drawn to it. So if someone's not there to introduce it to them, then they'll probably just brush it off like it's stupid. So yeah, that's really have to, what I have to say about growth. And then Waste is just depends on your area. If there's enough people in your area that want to play Waste will be fine. There's people that get into Waste just because there's a series they want to play. And whether or not they continue to play is based on how much they enjoy the game, but they still have gotten into it because of the series. And who cares? Bushiroad, they already got your money.
They sure do.
And what if I died within like a month? So
at least here.
Yeah, I can't believe that people are still playing that game.
Oh man, why don't you give us your opinion as someone who's still, you're not really playing, but still seeing the meta every week?
Well, what Qoheleth said, I think, is very true. Is we are on hiatus mostly because we're busy and we don't have time to.
And old.
Yeah, that too. But as soon as we left, our numbers didn't falter. We didn't go from having 23 people to having 16 people. We went from having 23 to having about 23. And the store itself has been seeing a big sort of rise in players coming in from other areas wanting to continue to play Vanguard despite the changes. I think that the Stride meta allows people to play some decks that they might not normally play and experiment with things, because in the end they can just throw some Strides out and kind of keep up. But I like the direction that Cardfight goes in. I still enjoy playing when I get a chance to play people that are at my speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the list of the top 10 games is, you shouldn't look too much into lists for your information on how a card game's doing, because there were like 6 years in a row where the Versus system was number 9 or number 10 on the list of top 10s, and it kept going for 6 more years during that time period. Like, there's, just because you're at the bottom of the list doesn't mean that you're not making it and having an expansive group and whatnot. Also, when a new card game comes out, like Force of Will, where a bunch of people are interested, gamers do migrate, and they might migrate for a little while, and they might migrate for a long time. A good example of this is we had a player who came up to me when Force of Will officially came out, and he was like, "Well, I'm not playing Cardfight anymore." And I said, "Really?" Like, if I'm quitting entirely, I'm good at Force of Will, and I'm going to go play Force of Will. And
Who is this?
I'd rather not say on camera in case he's a listener, but...
There was an initial.
No,
Jay.
man, don't do it.
But he left for a while, and then recently I've heard that he sold all of his Force of Will cards, and he's looking to rebuild his Vanguard decks. So,
Which is good for you.
I mean, it's sure, but it's more that he thought for sure that this new game was going to consume his card playing time, and then he played it for a while, realized he didn't like it as much as he thought he did, and went back to the game that he was comfortable with. We've had 2 or 3 players do something similar to that recently. A lot of our card fighters are also getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! In little bursts. And, you know, they enjoy it, but they haven't stopped coming in on Fridays for Vanguard, so, you know, I think that idea is deceptive. Don't just assume that number 8 on the list means that it's about to die. Those games can last forever, especially Bushiroad games, because they are making their money elsewhere so that they can keep funneling into whatever card game they think will succeed for as long as they want to.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I have a pretty good idea that Buddy Fight is probably operating in the red, and at least in most areas, and they're probably funneling from other ventures to keep it afloat.
I would assume so. I think, and usually companies do that when they believe in the product. And Buddy Fight, as I've said before, is not an unfun game. I have a great time every time I play it. The mechanics are sloppy. I think it's the power creep, especially at this point, is out of this world. And there's definitely, you know, there's an easily one-turn kills all the time, but every time I play it, I'm just laughing and having a great time doing it. So,
here's an interesting thing, I think. If you were, so let's say Bushiroad were willing to offer you the job to do it, okay? Like, pay you money and all that. And they wanted you to turn around, well, you think the direction is good, but they want you to increase the popularity, maybe even make it compete with Force of Will. What would your strategy be?
for Buddy Fight?
If you became like the North American, no, for Cardfight.
Oh, for Cardfight.
North American Cardfight strategy manager.
You know, I think that I would put a little more focus on the clans that have good ideas behind them, but never really reach full play. One of the things we were talking about the other day was Dark Irregulars. Dark Irregulars recently got another shot in the arm, and they're playable. They're not as good as Thingsaver and PBA, PBD combo or whatever, but they're good. They're okay. If you augment their ability a little bit and made it so that they could soul charge less, but in response force your opponent to soul blast, then they could use that soul manipulation characteristic to make cards like Still Vampire playable again, and other things in that vein. They could make it more of a control set rather than just soul charging like crazy and then hopefully getting some effects for doing so. And one of the things that Bushiroad, I feel like Vanguard, but Bushiroad as a whole has issues with, is interacting between players and the way that control works. Because it's either mediocre or broken. It's never just good.
Because that would be your only strategy, or would you do anything else to try to make it grow like Force of Will?
I think one of the big things that we have issue with when it comes to Bushiroad stuff is publicity. There's not a lot of people out there vouching for the game. we have in our own personal community, we have people from all areas, all different card games coming in to play Vanguard. But when it comes to recruiting other people, some of them look at the cards and they go, "What's this dumb game?" And it's kind of hard to get them hyped and interested when a couple of the players that are from a game that they never played, that they didn't play because of the community, come up and, "Don't make fun of my game." So, I mean, like, it's just an image thing that you'd have to put the game out there and get it, get the word out that it's fun to play. Like,
More commercials on Toonami.
how about more streams on local tournament level, you know? Give a bonus promo set to stores that have active weekly streaming of events. Try to host live streaming at your own events. Bushiroad has huge events and there's no stream. Why not?
That's true.
There was 300 people at one of the events that we went to not that long ago, and they had no live recordings of things going on. They didn't even record matches to put up on the website later. That's a missed opportunity. Every big Magic event, every big Yu-Gi-Oh event, every big Pokemon event has live streaming with commentators that know what they're talking about, following the action and giving people an idea of how the game is played. That always increases word of mouth on a game.
Well, I think, one, I thought streaming might not be worth it in the sense that it is best of one, and it's like, okay, you do all this setup, and you get like a 5-minute game, and then the stream goes down until the round's over. So 40 minutes later, you get another 5-minute game, and vice versa. But since I think there's a questionnaire going around for the regionals that we did not attend because none of them were in Chicago or near us, that it's like, hey, would you think Cardfight would be better with a best of 3 setup or something like that? And I'm sure that most of the community said yes to that. So if they do make that change, streaming becomes a little bit more viable, and I think people would enjoy competitive play more because they don't just get triple crit on turn 2 or 3 and go, okay.
And that's definitely fair. I don't really see a purpose in best of 3 if there's no sideboarding.
Sure there is, because there's those games you just get destroyed and you don't get to play your deck.
Okay, but that really doesn't happen less often with the way Bushiroad games are set up in a best of 3 scenario. You could just as easily have 2 really good games and then your last game be that best of 1 problem.
Right, but even that happens sometimes in other games where, game 3 of the finals, I just got mana screwed, I didn't get to play my deck.
And it happens.
Yeah, it happens, but it's not a best of 1 situation. You are maximized your opportunity to actually play the game and have a fighting chance.
I don't feel that way. When in fact, usually when I play best of 3, I end up feeling like one of the matches that I did was a total throwaway match, one way or another. So, if there's always one match that goes that way, then it's not really better highlighting the playability of my deck. Personally, for me.
I don't know. One of the most infuriating things for me in a card game is you just have to sit there and not play your game because you didn't get the right draw.
For sure.
That's so infuriating in every game you play, whether it be Hearthstone, Cardfight, Waste, Force of Will. It sucks. So in order to give you the fairest advantage or fairest chance and give you multiple games to play without the sideboard is fine.
Yeah. And I don't mind it as far as streaming goes, for sure. I think that would definitely make streaming a more viable option.
Like ARG streams, and they do best of 3.
I'm not the biggest fan of ARG personally, so I don't want to It's not. You're not wrong. They do best of 3, and it does make for a more enthralling viewing experience. So definitely from a streaming standpoint, best of 3 I think is a better way to go. One thing that they could do though, as far as the tournament scene goes, is that they what Magic does on occasion is they'll set up multiple games staggered through the round.
Yeah, so you can just switch to, like, Game B.
Yeah, so you can switch to Game B or Game C. And if Game A just ends abruptly through whatever. And Bushiroad definitely has that kind of backing that they could do that. It's just a question of what do they want to do that. Because right now, Bushiroad doesn't even have a tournament staff.
They don't have a proper judge system.
Right.
It's coming.
Yeah, finally. The game's been out for like 4 years.
Yep.
Competitive play's been going on since year 1.
Does Force of Will have a proper judge system?
No, it does not. It has a very, very improper judge system. There was a lot of conversation about that today at our local store. Because there's one true tournament organizer for the U.S. And anytime we ask a question, to Matt Kuzmer, if you're listening, you know me, and you know that I have a lot of respect for what you do and the energy you put into making things go. But anytime a question is asked, soon is the inevitable answer. It's like, well, when will our cards match the way that the Italian cards work that match the way the Japanese cards work? Soon. Well, when will we be a united judge front across international competitive levels? Soon. Well, what about getting cards errataed correctly so that we can use them right? Soon. And none of that stuff helps when you're trying to be a competitive player in a competitive game.
Does he actually work for Force of Will?
He does. He is an official tournament organizer, at least as far as I know. Matt, if you're listening and that's wrong, correct me, please. But from what I understand, he does indeed work for the company as U.S.'s official tournament organizer. And I think one of the problems of Force of Will is that it has paired itself so hard with ARG in America. And I will never apologize to ARG for this. They bumble a lot when it comes to creating the right atmosphere for a tournament, for a competitive organization. They make vague promises they don't keep. They intentionally use absence of information as justification for not giving the players what they deserve. They mishandle tournaments, and they mishandle sales, and they've gotten in trouble with other games in the past. I know that they've lost their backing from Wizards of the Coast and Pokemon on several occasions. I think they've also had issues with Konami. Konami's very strict about their tournament regulations, and they just kind of stomp all over it. So Force of Will kind of tying their projects so closely to ARG is setting themselves up for having problems in the future when players kind of get tired of ARG screwing the pooch.
You don't think ARG's going to fix themselves?
No.
No.
Why would they?
They make their money. They don't care. And it's not good to put a new card game that you want to thrive in the hands of people who made their money and do not care.
Well, I think it was just so easy for ARG to go, hey, we're looking for a new game. Force of Will, you want to do competitive play? And yeah,
please,
of course.
Right,
yeah.
And that's the thing is that they definitely jumped into it without thinking about the repercussions because they probably didn't know anything about ARG. It's just some American company to them, some very popular offshore group wants to take your game into the U.S. How can you say no,
But can you say ARG really helped to make Cardfight grow really fast though?
Sure, but I mean, you could say that. I don't know if it's true. You could say it though. But the question isn't whether or not they made it popular fast. There's been many games in the past that got super popular super quickly and then burned out really hard.
Like what?
Inuyasha.
Was that popular?
Oh yeah. When Inuyasha first came out, the first set, Tetsaiga, sold out everywhere that it was being held. In particular, some stores bought upwards of 120 boxes for opening day, and they were sold out by the end of that night. Because a lot of players from Yu Yu Hakusho, which had just recently been dismantled, immediately got into Inuyasha. The day they announced Inuyasha was coming out, they also announced that Yu Yu Hakusho was stopping that day. So, a bunch of those players moved straight over, and it was vastly popular. Some stores were trying to sell $30 boxes for $120 a piece, and people were buying them. And it was just like, it was a very hot game for 4 or 5 sets. And it ended up making about 13 sets, but I don't know anybody who played past the first 6. Like, after the 6th one came out, the power creep was real. It's a score entertainment game, so you could expect that. The community just kind of flared out on it, and that was the end of that. So, being popular quickly doesn't mean much. It's about staying power. And if you are being run by, if your tournaments are being run exclusively by a company who tends to flub on tournament prizing.
What happened, Will?
It hits a limit, a space limit for one video.
Okay, so we're back?
Yeah.
Okay. They were so... I'm afraid to use the word shady, but they were so secretive at the ARG regionals in St. Louis that they didn't want to tell us what tournament program they were using. Like, we're like, we know that Force Will doesn't have a tournament program yet. Are you using Konami's? Are you using Bushiroads? Maybe you're using Wizards of the Coast? What are you using? Oh, don't worry about that. Well, I'm not asking because of any troubles. I just want to know what system you're using. And if you're a competitive tournament player, you know that there's a very real difference between the tournament softwares they use.
Bushiroad?
Bushiroad software is garbage. It is hot garbage.
I would disagree.
Does Jetty still use it, or have they moved back to Konami for the
No,
tournament?
we still use it.
Use it?
Because it's the system that is easiest for me to manipulate, and since I'm pretty much the tournament organizer, I run with what I run. But it's bad, and I've emailed Bushiroad several times about the problems with the system. It'll often cut people out of the top cut that deserve to be there when it goes down to 4 3-1s are trying to get into the 2 slots left on the top 4. It'll pick them at random. I can pick the top 4, reset the round, and then pick the top 4 again, and it'll be 3 different people in those extra top 4 slots. It's terrible. It never goes by win percentages. It bubbles out things sometimes alphabetically or numerically by how they signed up. It's a mess.
So what do you think is better than Konami's?
The Konami system is definitely a little better about making sure that tie systems work, but the input system is terrible. And if you put in something wrong, it takes clicks and clicks and clicks of backtracking to fix the problem that you made. So that's not a good solution either. And Wizards of the Coast system is directly tied to Wizards of the Coast through the entire tournament. So you're not allowed to...
With BCI?
Yeah, you're not allowed to stop and go offline and take a breather because the system doesn't trust you during that time period.
Oh, so you actually require an internet connection for the wizard system.
Yes. At least as far as I can tell. Again, those people out there who are more knowledgeable than me, please don't start a flame war in the comments. I'm just telling you what I know based on my limited experience with those systems. But, so if you're a competitive player, you want to know what they're using to help decide what the top 8 is going to be. Because it matters. And they were very, no, we're not telling anybody, nobody gets to know what the system is. And then when they got to the top 8, they had a rule earlier, all through the day, that there would be no splits allowed. You are not allowed to intentionally draw or collude to draw during the course of the tournament. They said that beginning in round 1, it was going to be enforced very strictly. They get into the top 8, time's running out on us being in the convention center, and they basically tell the top 8 to split. So there's no more streaming of any more games in the top 8. They all split the prize money equally, and the mat was given to the one who was willing to pay for it, I believe. And so that's a problem, because that just changed everything. Like, they completely shifted an entire rule because they felt like their time constraint was limited. And their prize support was laughable at best.
I heard there was the amount of money between that and the Yu-Gi-Oh tournament going on at the same time was starkly.
Yeah, well, it was laughable. And okay, I'm not giving them grief about that necessarily, because they promoted a $5,100 or something like that tournament for Yu-Gi-Oh. They promoted it as such. So when only 81 people showed up, they still had to give that $5,100 away because that's what they promoted. But for Force of Will, they didn't promote anything, and we also had 81 people. And so we're like, so we get the same amount as Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And they're like, hell no. And of course not. Why would you giving $5,100 at a tournament where only 80 people show up is ludicrous. You're just bleeding, hemorrhaging money. But what they did was they punished us as Force of Will players for their lack of foresight on the Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. An 81-player tournament, even at our local shop, would warrant at least 4 to 6 boxes of prize support amongst the top 8. That's just the way it goes with the entry fee. And since the entry fee for this was $35, it should have been even more than that. Cash prize-wise, there should have been at least $500 to the winner.
That's on low end.
Right. But they didn't do that. There was nowhere near that much when they split it up amongst the top 8, I think.
Top 8 all split.
Yeah, and they all got, I think, something like $65 to $75, maybe, and then one person bought the mat for the win. So that's a huge, huge error in judgment, because that does not make people want to come back for regionals, ARG, St. Louis the next time around. Because why would you want to play literally all day? They shut down the food services at 3 o'clock, and I was there until 7 p.m. when I finally...
Yeah, top 8 all split because they would have gone to like 2 in the morning or something stupid.
But they didn't prepare adequately for the tournament. They don't ever, and I don't feel like they are the best fit for Force of Will to put all their eggs into the proverbial basket.
The Force will host a zone tournament, don't it, for regionals? I know IRG is a separate event.
I am not sure if they've gotten into their own regionals since then. I know that there was a good amount of regional tournaments recently, but I know that the most promoted events have always been ARG events.
I don't know. There's been a couple tournaments in the past. Like, I don't think Providence was ARG.
Providence was?
Not.
Was not. Okay, so there might be a little bit of
Because it
holes
was
in my knowledge on the more recent.
It was Force of Will US streaming that day.
Okay.
So and I don't think California was ARG either.
Mm-hmm. Now, out of curiosity, with Providence, did they end up getting to the top 8? Did they take it?
Yeah.
And they did it right. So that's great. I'm glad to hear that, because the last place my knowledge had left off on was that everything that they were doing was associated with ARG.
Hawaii wasn't ARG either.
Yeah.
I think
that's why it was a big problem, because the judge, whatever, won, and it was try to get it to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all Force of Wilco. I don't know what ended up coming out with that, but yeah, like a judge was judging and playing, and he took first, and that's a big no-no.
Yeah.
But
you should never have your judges judging and playing. That was another problem. I'm sorry. Go ahead and.
Well, that was it. Like, I'm just saying that I don't think Hawaii was ARG. That's
Okay.
That's Force of Wilco trying to get people to Worlds in Japan.
Okay. Another problem that spawned up with Force of Wilco was they asked the lead tournament organizer, Matt Kozmer, to give out some judge tests. And so they were going to do a judge test system on the second day of the convention that was going on at Gateway Convention Center here near St. Louis in Collinsville, Illinois.
But Cosner was at St. Louis ARG?
That was the St. Louis ARG. Yeah, he was there.
Of course he was.
And
he's at all the ARG events, I guess?
Well, I think he lives in, like, Michigan, but it was the first competitive Force of Will thing in, like, America. Of course he's going to come down.
Yeah.
Support the game.
He did, and I also think, I'm not sure about this, but I heard that he works for ARG as well. Like, it's just one of his...
No, I don't know.
That might be his main job. But, so they told a bunch of people at the tournament on Saturday, and the first time they heard about it was that day on Saturday, hey, if you come up tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, we can give you the judge test and you can become a judge. Well, nobody had any time to prepare for that. They had already been at the tournament hall for 9 to 12 hours, and nobody wanted to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning, or for us in St. Louis, wake up at 7:30 to get to
take a selfie?
To the hall on time.
I'm being profile.
In order to take this judge test. So like, I didn't take the judge test. I wanted to, but I didn't get a chance to go up there. I don't know anybody who is certified to judge in St. Louis right now. I know a couple people who are qualified, but they don't. There's no other way to take the judge test right now, as far as I know. Like, there's no online judge certification, and it was a real mess that could have been avoided with just a couple words on the website. Hey, we're looking for judges. We might tell you that a judge test is coming up. Be prepared if you want to do judging. Yeah.
What was it? The Cardfight event, back on ARG and how well they do things, quote unquote. Like the Cardfight event that they did in KC, where one of our local players actually won.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people were there. I just know that it is, a $20 entry fee or something stupid. And there was no prize support given, even though cash prize support is usually advertised. I don't know what specifically at this one, but there was none, and all he got was a mat. So,
Tron?
Yeah, Tron. Normally...
Congratulations, by the way, Tron, if you're listening.
Yeah, that was
We're
really
all
cool.
proud of you, dude.
Like, no one said anything on the Facebook group, so I didn't think any of us won, and I thought everyone got the mat, that's why I didn't think anything of it. But, if there's, seems to always be cash support or, at least ARG credit given at these events, I don't know why, no matter how small that event was, why his prize was, or why his entry fee wasn't just given back to him.
Right.
As his prize plus the mat.
Right. His prize was a mat and the opportunity to go to Philly.
Yeah.
He also
Now,
got
he still had to pay for his own trip, and he had to pay for his entry at Philly.
Yeah.
But he was invited to Philadelphia.
Right.
And it's just like he paid $30 or something like that.
And he had to get all the way to KC.
They gave him ARG points too, which I don't know what they're used for because I don't do ARG
ARG
events.
points in general are used in case you want to write articles on the premium version of the ARG website, which is very similar to TCG players' articles and whatnot.
I don't know. Some people have mentioned there's like it lets you like buy from like an ARG shop or something.
Yeah, like someone was saying that you can trade points.
Yeah, you can, but there's no way that Tron got enough points from one event to get anything cool, get anything of worth, you know?
Yeah.
And in comparison, they could have just given him his entry fee back and said, if you make it to Philly, we'll pay for your entry there too.
Yeah, like
that's not.
Even if there was,
that wouldn't have lost them any money, and it would have created a lot of goodwill with the Cardfight community.
Right, and even if there was 10 people there, they could have just gone, okay, you won, here's your money back. That's the least they could have done, and they didn't do it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and that's sort of the theme that we're getting at. Even the least you could do is too much for them to do, you know? The bare bone minimums of what a decent tournament organizer would do is not within their scope of ethics. So,
I think ARG may have started the first tournament, major thing for Force of Will, but it seems like, at least with the tournament season that we're in right now, is that there's actually a Force of Will held tournament, and then on the Saturday. Then on the Sunday following it, in the same city, there's an ARG event.
That might be right.
That might be it, and if so, it's great that I'm glad that Force of Will is making their own independent strides out there to do their own tournaments.
But I don't think there's entry fees in the tournament. I think it's like Bushiroad where you just kind of show up.
You just don't show, and if that's the case, that's even better because that means
there's entry fee because they give you a mat. It's still $35 or some shit. Because they give you a mat and 2 promos. Which it's crazy because
those promos cost money.
Even paying $35 for it, you're getting a deal.
Yeah, those promos are expensive, and it's just I wish that there was. I just wish there was a little more initiative on Force of Will to make their card game better, and right now there's not. And I hope that changes in the future and changes real soon. Because we really need to all be on the same page if we're going to have a global community of Force of Will players.
So, hiring better translators?
Hiring better translators, communicating more and getting an actual international judge board going, and having a bigger support staff in every area that they have the card game in. I was talking to someone earlier today who has a lot of experience translating digital format text to actual items. So something like translating and printing cards in English. And he was mentioning that the way a card game goes to be completely successful is that it normalizes its values and its design. It mass prints across, at least in Japanese and English, correctly as often as it can.
Well, even Wizards still screws up sometimes. Didn't
a
Spanish Ashiok have its costs wrong or something? Its +2 is really a +1 in Spain or something like that?
Yeah, but to put that into context, Wizards in the last 3 sets has had 2 misprints after printing in 7 languages.
Oh, well, right.
Force of Will's last set had 5 misprints
in a 50-card set.
In a 50-card set on in one language of their 3. So, I mean, it's. I'm not saying that mistakes don't happen, but you gotta work for it.
The iToy? Is that
You
a
gotta
band?
want it. Should we take a break, guys? So
Take a break.
We can figure out
We'll
what's
be back.
going on?
We'll figure out what this creature is.
Am I the only one that sees that?
I mean, there's some sort of shadowy figure.
Yeah,
Says what?
it's a shadow thing moving. Right?
I don't see shit.
It might be a leaf even in the same area. But...
What are you guys looking at?
Thing in the darkness. And we're back.
We are?
Somewhat, yeah. Don't know what that creature was. Still kind of alive.
It's still there.
Everyone,
Got him!
Everyone has calmed down from their paranoia.
Yeah, who is paranoid and why? Oh, is my thing really holding that up?
Man,
Just take it, man.
we're
Take
in
it.
the quality.
You're
No,
free, man.
man. Go back to bed.
Wait, you turn this back on?
Yeah, it's
we're
on.
back.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're back, and we didn't totally edit out idiocy.
We're not gonna edit out anything.
Yeah, why
we're
would
doing it
we?
live.
Why would we?
This is the raw footage. It shows that, we're all human.
Yeah.
All human.
We're back, and so we left off basically concluding that
ARG sucks.
ARG kind of
ARG
sucks.
could be better.
So when did ARG start? I'm confused.
Well, ARG's been around for like ever with Yu-Gi-Oh! And then they picked up Cardfight. That's when I heard about it.
Were they always a tournament organizer, or were they a shop first?
They were originally a store, and
They're essentially just smaller, like Star City games, right?
kind of, yeah. Except they don't follow the rules that Star City follows.
Oh, right. Like they're bad at it.
Yeah. Yes, I guess. I don't want to be the person to say they are a smaller, shittier
You can have
Star
some,
City
yes.
games, but sure. If you want to say it that way, we'll say it that way.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the way you want to say it. You're just not going to.
Yeah, open that can.
I'm not gonna
Right.
be that guy. It's just not happening.
That's going to be on the ARG hit list.
Okay, so
I don't know, just everything I've heard about ARG.
That's fine, yeah, you
I
can
haven't
keep.
been in their tournament though, but that's just because I play Hearthstone.
I don't hear.
Yeah, I can't wait for ARG to pick up Hearthstone. That'd be
Yeah.
If ARG picked up
That'd be
Hearthstone,
balls.
I'd do the firesides for that.
All right,
Okay.
well,
So-
Aaron, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Hearthstone's doing recently?
There's a new set coming out. That's the Grand Tournament, I believe. Are we gonna start doing Hearthstone in this channel?
No, we're all garbage at it.
I
So
don't
win
know.
tournaments and we'll talk.
I just skilled my way, undefeated 8 ranks.
So now what? You're 12?
No, I'm 8.
Oh!
Everyone
Everyone knows that anywhere between anywhere under rank 1 is the same, basically.
Whatever.
From what I understand, my nephew, little DJ, is quite the Hearthstone player.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that means exactly. He could be garbage, but
Was he better than Blackstar, the international superstar?
No, that dude
I cannot
sucks.
confirm nor deny.
He was asking me about Oil Rogue like 5 months after it came out, maybe. I was like, what?
What do you think that new deck will?
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a new set coming out, the Grand Tournament, and there's new cards that support hero powers, I guess.
Right, they're just trying to slow down the meta.
Yeah.
And if they succeed, it'll be good, because no one likes the aggro meta.
Yeah, there's Patron Warriors winning right now because it has that really good thing that most decks want, that you kill your opponent in 1 turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Empty
pretty
board?
good.
Alright, so if you're trying to get someone into Hearthstone, what did you use to convince them?
Get them a cell phone.
Yeah. You ever wanna
What
play
makes
cards?
Hearthstone appealing? Sell it to me.
You can play
Sell it to Diesel.
anywhere.
Well, if you can sell it to Diesel, you can sell it to anyone.
Sell it to D. Alright.
Diesel already knows that he doesn't like Hearthstone.
Yeah.
But why doesn't he like Hearthstone? So what is
Okay,
it?
so I let's say I've never played Hearthstone. Tell me about the gameplay. Tell me how this works.
Well, like,
But he has card game experience.
I do have card game experience. You don't have to treat me like I'm an idiot, though.
alright, so like each turn you get this thing called mana. And that goes up from 1 to 10 over the course of turns.
Okay, so the more turns that go, the more mana you accumulate.
Correct, but it maxes out at 10.
And maxing out of 10.
Yeah, so there's no resource that you need to put in your deck. The resource is given to you.
Okay.
So, and then it's completely based on action, react, and then action. And then you pass your turn. Like, there's no counterplay on the other person's turn, your opponent's turn. So, it's...
Okay, so it has the interactivity of Cardfight with the...
Actually, I would kind of less, because you can guard in Cardfight.
Okay.
Yeah.
with the resource management of Naruto.
I guess I never played Naruto.
Naruto had a turn order issue, so like certain ninjas you couldn't summon until turn 4, just because you wouldn't have the mana to do so.
Fascinating.
The thing about Hearthstone that's, I would say, I guess in a way completely unlike other card games. Well, I guess other card games could mimic it, but it's just hard. Since it's an online card game, it takes RNG to like the next level. Like
Yeah, if you were to
so
play in real
much
life, you'd
RNG.
just have roll dice like all day.
Yeah.
So
It's like Dice Masters.
Is that?
no,
I don't
No.
know.
Hope
not at all.
Means there's
what-
so
what
much
do you-
random
what
stuff
do you-
going on, it'd be impossible
What
to play.
what do you mean?
Hands-on.
Like what kind of things create an RNG moment in Hearthstone?
There's one card, 2 mana, 3/2, whatever, but its effective is when it comes on the field, do 3 separate damage to 3 random things, including it could be you. Except for it can't damage itself.
Okay, so it does it to some player or permanent
Yes,
at
essentially.
random.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Which I guess there are card games that can do that.
I mean,
but, you
there's
know.
a terrible card in Magic called Tyrant of Discord that does that,
Well, it's,
but it's hot garbage. No one would ever.
I wish like Chaos Orb would come back in Standard.
well, it's just like cards like that, and it's discard 2 random cards. You could do it, but it's like computer based, so it makes it a lot faster than a normal card game.
I know isn't there that one card that when you play it, it reduces the cost of cards that are already in your hand?
Right.
So
Yes.
if you drew another card in a regular game, you wouldn't be able to know
Yeah, there's
that
no way to
that
like
card-
differentiate and keep
That-
track of what's reduced
yeah.
and everything. And
And now I've been told one of the double-edged swords of Hearthstone is that they can errata cards on the fly. Like they can literally just make a card read differently,
yeah, they can nerf stuff,
and
but
they can nerf it and make
sometimes there's no format system in Hearthstone, so that's like the
Yeah.
easiest way to balance.
Yeah. Like,
And-
it's how Force of Will, they change the words on stuff because it's a new game, you know?
Mm.
But, like, Hearthstone's, like, if they see something completely overpowered, they just change the words.
They nerf it.
Balance.
And that's not. And
But
that's
balance is still in there.
yeah. And that's not uncommon for card games in general. Pokemon has done that in
Mhm.
years past.
I know Magic has done it before, too.
Mhm.
Sarah Angel.
What was I gonna say?
Wait, no, they didn't. They changed the rarity of that.
Yeah, they changed the rarity.
Yeah, they nerfed Sarah Angel.
Yeah.
No, but like in Pokemon there was a card way back in the day that had the name that had a name like Reporter, and it was way overpowered. So the next time they made a card called Reporter, they completely changed they made the effect different, similar but not the same. And then they said any copy of the card Reporter you have now says this instead. So you could play your old copies and still play by the current rules.
Or like they did with Pokemon Catcher.
Yeah, Pokemon Catcher's a perfect example.
Yeah,
of that.
where it's not a guaranteed, hey, you lose.
Yeah.
It's coin flip, you lose?
So the old ones now read by the new text, no matter what they actually say on the
Right.
card.
But that's easier in Hearthstone because it's not, I have this old version of a card.
Right.
It's everything.
I don't actually know what's going on anymore.
And so I've heard that the reason why that could be a bad thing is that you get used to playing your deck the way that it plays, and then
Well, it's like,
they change something, and then suddenly it's like,
just think of it as
This
that
isn't
card,
the
as
same.
it stands, got banned, and they printed a new card that could replace it, or it could be useless, and you just gotta adapt your deck.
And they don't randomly do it. They give you, like, warning. Like,
Yeah, there's
weeks.
like, hey, there's
They-
patch notes, like, hey, this is gonna get nerfed.
well, that's great. They give
Yeah.
they give you a heads up before update day, like
Yeah.
you can find
this
out.
is gonna change.
There
So
was
if
that
you didn't
time-
know, that's your fault.
There was that time where, like, people playing on a computer got Unleash the Hounds nerf before people playing on iOS.
Huh.
So, and they're matchmake together. So you got people playing with unnerfed.
Two different.
Yeah, unnerfed Unleash the Hounds and nerfed Unleash the Hounds in the same game, and they're just like, what the fuck, dude?
Why? Why is this? Why?
Yeah.
That is, it's like a pro and con that it is internet based. Is you can just disconnect anytime, but
I'm gonna play modern. You're gonna play standard. Let's see how things go.
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
it's like you can play like in a car just sitting doing nothing. Like because you're in a car, you can't do anything.
Yeah, like, that's
So
one of the
it's
most
very
biggest draws to
convenient.
it is that it's literally a time waster.
Mm-hmm.
is that, you know, you're by yourself, you're alone, just trying to kill time, like you're at a restaurant with a bunch of friends and no one's talking, so you just go, fuck it. I'm going to deal 30 damage to someone's face. You know.
No, that's fair, because
Awesome.
I do play a lot of Pokemon card game online. I don't like playing Pokemon card game in person, because you have to shuffle your deck literally every
3 seconds.
turn. Yeah, at least once or twice a turn. And so the games in real life take a half an hour. The games online take 7 minutes because it does all the shuffling for you. So I'm like, I've got 7 minutes to kill. Let me see if I can beat somebody in Pokemon real quick. And so it's one of the few online card games that I play.
Hearthstone has become very popular. I want to say it's the most popular Blizzard game right now, maybe?
Yeah, but Blizzard doesn't have a lot going for it right now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But I think they had the most popular app, like, downloaded last year.
Yeah, it's got like, I think it's got like 10 million downloads.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And it came out like late last year, right?
The app, yeah.
Yeah, so that's huge.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I mean, like, a big appeal is, you know, it's... all of us have Warcraft experience.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was drawn to. It was like, oh, cool, I can play with Warcraft characters.
I didn't join until months after you, so...
Yeah. But I hear all the time people that have no Warcraft experience just play it for the mechanics, and it's said to be easy to learn, but it can be, you know, minus the RNG elements, it can be...
Yeah.
There's a lot of, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Mechanics to, like, everyone's still figuring out the mechanics of the game because there is no written rulebook, like what triggers when and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
So
And since it's an online program,
yeah.
even if something is supposed to be on a certain layer, it might not be programmed that way right now, and so that could be a problem too.
Yeah, so I mean, like, there's deep mechanics, but it's really easy to learn, and you can jump in and do well with a cheap deck because cheap decks just do damage to face, and that wins games.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Okay.
It's definitely not a pay-to-win game like some people say. If you think it's pay-to-win, you're just bad.
Any of you guys out there listening, if you want us to try to make Hearthstone happen on the channel, let us know. And your requests will be ignored in the order that they were received.
We will give you a link to Shade's Twitch channel.
I have
He will play
one
at his leisure.
video.
There you go.
That's called Test, and I was tested.
That's an infinite percent more than the number we have.
Yep.
Plus one. So
it sounds like you like Hearthstone because it's similar to things, you know, theme-wise. It has a lot of things you're used to, and the game is easy to get into and has a lot of depth.
I usually jump into card games for flavor.
Yeah,
and it's the mechanics that keep me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
My only really draw to Hearthstone would be is that I know with a lot of at least mobile games that are card games, they don't last very long because a company will just discontinue or fold up, and even big companies like Sega and stuff, Square Enix, are pretty known for their mobile card games to just kind of drop support for them suddenly.
Yeah.
But what about Hearthstone being a computer game that just has multi-platforms?
And that could be why, you know, it'd be a better investment to get into. Just because you have, Blizzard, I mean, look at its track record, it still supports freaking StarCraft 2. So,
StarCraft 2's, you know, phone scene is huge.
So you know that they are willing to still support their old games. So you know that it'll be around.
Did you mean to say StarCraft 2 or StarCraft? StarCraft 2 is...
Yeah, StarCraft 2 is about to have another expansion.
StarCraft, yeah.
Yeah, Protoss expansion's coming out.
This is what I think you were saying.
Since there's so much RNG in Hearthstone, though, like there's an entire class that's RNG, right? Shaman.
Yeah.
Essentially, if it's like you're against a priest and you get a fire totem, you lose.
Yeah.
But it's you can make all the best plays
and still lose.
Yeah.
But that can still happen in some games.
Yeah, there's just a lot of RNG.
But not following mechanics correctly can also lose you to games. So being the knowledgeable player still gives you the best advantage.
Yeah.
So now that they've gotten a chance to talk about it, Chris Qoheleth mentioned earlier that I already know that I do not like Hearthstone, and it is that RNG element that's a problem. Is the fact that I can play the absolute best I can, and just kind of get shit on by numbers that are beyond my control.
Yep.
And, you know, I do play Cardfight, and I understand that the trigger system is very similar to an RNG problem.
Is that one of the reasons you don't like waste?
It's the main reason I don't like waste. That, like, you know, I feel that if you do a cool combo that's supposed to stick 12 damage onto somebody, they should at least have to take some of that 12 damage, but...
Well, that's one of the mechanics of waste, is that you have to find that perfect balance between doing too much damage and
doing too little. And for some people that is a super fun thing, and for me it's very not.
No, I went numbers.
Well, you know, sometimes...
Channel Fireball was perfectly balanced.
Yeah, alright, so segueing into our next topic, and that was our first segment of Sell It to D.
I think we should do that more often.
Sell it to D? Yeah.
Hearthstone.
Sell it to Diesel, yeah.
Sell it to
Alright,
D.
let's talk about Vice Shorts real quick. Qoheleth, Makuto, what's it like playing a game that literally no one likes? Like, just 0 people like.
I don't know. I mean, there's 2 people on this couch that like waste. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't matter if other people don't like it, because we do, and we always want to play each other.
That's pretty much it.
I mean, it's always nice to have other people. You know.
I'm just leading off from where I left off with Vice Shorts. And the thing is I can have a good time playing Vice Shorts. I really like playing my
Your Woozer deck
my Woozer deck.
with your booster tutors and whatnot.
Yep, it's really funny, and it can be fun to play at the same time be something to do.
Oh, it can be terribly infuriating.
But
I don't think you had a good game yesterday.
Yeah.
You had
tell us about
3 terrible
that.
games. It was just the fact that, you know,
He canceled everything. I didn't cancel anything.
yeah.
Oh, I love those games.
Yeah, and it just happened repetitively. And that happened the last time we played, and it's just like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
These games are
Yeah.
but we still continue to play afterward.
Yeah. Well, that's because I like playing the game.
Yeah.
And I like that you guys have that with Vice Shorts. It's something that I can't do with Vice Shorts.
Just kind of like lose
but
and be like, whatever.
Well, it's not about losing though. It's about that extra bit of orange, that randomness that keeps me from being able to even enjoy the fact that I did something cool. It's like, here I am doing something cool. 0 damage came of it, so I might as well have just passed my turn, you know, or whatever.
Well, you generated stock.
You generate stock.
Oh, sure.
You wipe the field.
It happens, right.
Yeah.
But it's different for me than, say, Qoheleth and I played a couple games Force Will the other day, and it's not true, but I feel like whenever he's playing his Jeanne d'Arc deck, it's just he'll Gretel into a green stone and put it out, and then he'll flip his ruler to call a stone, and it'll be the non-green stone that, if he had done it in the other order, would have completely screwed him over.
But
for
that's
ramping.
me playing the numbers to my advantage.
And I totally
Which is
agree.
how you always should approach random elements.
Absolutely. And you should always... And from the opponent's side of the table...
Oh, it's bullshit.
It feels like it always works out right. It feels like it always works out for you, while it never works out for me.
There's a saying for that, Tony, you know, Asian Indians, never lucky.
Oh, yeah.
Never lucky. The Apache started that.
Diesel, that's because you were fighting the one deck, which all Force of Will decks.
Don't talk right now. If you can't talk seriously, you can't be a part of this Podversations. But even though I feel that way when we're playing, we still get to play another game, because I have so much fun playing Force of Will that I get over it. You know, I get over it and then I move on.
Yeah.
For me, with Vice Schwartz, I'm not having enough fun, usually, to get over it and move on.
How mad you are.
Yeah.
Right.
I
get over
like
it and move
Vice,
on.
actually, old Vice, because, well, how I see it is, there's these two, like, have really fancy decks or whatever that have weird abilities, but to me, it's like, you can just win by going face, and if they don't
Every
cancel, if they don't cancel, you just win. It didn't matter what they did.
Yeah, turn, yeah.
It's like,
And,
boom.
And that was definitely the way I played Vice for a little bit before I got the Wizard deck. that I think that it's more or less agreed upon though that that I take things the most seriously of card games amongst our group.
And life.
Yeah, and life.
He's got like 2 jobs.
No, he has a lot more than 2.
Yeah, I have more than 2.
He's got at least 2 jobs.
He only works.
That's
like,
2 more than some of us.
Yeah.
All right.
He only works like 100 hours a week or something.
Right, 107 hours a week. That's fun. But and that doesn't include these random 2 to 3 hour podcasts. But
long podcast.
Don't you start with me.
Anyway,
Wow.
Sit there and play on
Stop
your phone, Boo.
But like, it's pretty much agreed upon that I take things the most seriously of card games. So when I play my card games and I'm getting shit on by luck, I take it worse than everybody else because I'm playing to win and I'm not winning not because I'm not playing the right moves, but that the mechanic just got me. It got me, and there's nothing I can do about it. And so it's just like it can be aggravating for someone of my personality type. So I don't play it to keep myself out of it.
Sounds legit.
Yeah, it's okay.
Minner's not buying it.
Minner is perfectly satisfied losing 10 games in a row and then calling it a day. He's just like,
Yeah, and then they do it all again tomorrow.
yeah, and then do it all again tomorrow, which is, it's a great skill to have if you don't plan on being anything other than a casual player.
Yeah.
And it's
Casual for life.
and it's wonderful to have in a friend. Thank you, Minner, for being willing to play 6 games of Force of Will in a row with me and just get shit on and be like, okay, yeah, that's fun.
It's just the biggest ego stroke.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I'm glad
I
I
can
help out,
beat the
guys.
shit out of non-turbo Pandora. Just
Right.
grind it into the ground.
Have you guys ever seen a Pandora deck that isn't fast? It exists in Minter's bag.
My deck.
And Makuto just needs to speed that shit up just a little bit.
Oh my god.
But he says nay.
He said that he does not want to play that way.
No,
I would have to buy more cards.
I think he
I'm
just
not
wants to
doing
get back
that.
into Musketeers and be like,
Are we almost to the Smash segment of this?
No,
we have no
we're
power.
Smash
We
Segment.
can't play Smash.
No, it's like talking about Smash. And
Oh.
the
Oh,
new
okay.
innovation.
We can't just
Smash.
talk about it. We'd have to play Smash as well.
Oh, dang it.
No, I'll talk about it. Go ahead, Tony. Tell me what's new in the world of Smash.
Nothing's
Ryu?
new. I'm still wrecking face except for random team games. Or not team games, group games.
Group
Random
games.
games.
I hate group
As
games.
long as Tony is only playing one opponent, he is by far the best player in our group.
Yeah.
Some-
One on one.
I'm sometimes good
One-on-one
group, but
games.
or not like free for all, but it's
Mhm.
just like sometimes I just get wrecked. He's like, I'm paying attention, trying to kill one person. Then
And then someone else comes out of nowhere, right?
No, well, I get
Sounds
hit.
like something you do to me
No,
all
I
the
get
time.
hit across the screen by that one person, and then the 2 other people are fighting across the screen, and then they just decide to kill me. They're killing each other, and I just get hit by their moves and die.
I had a very big issue with that yesterday. The salt was real. I got thrown across the screen by a smash attack into a random tree that our friend brought up with Killager, and that
only thing he
tree
does.
threw me way up in the air, and I died.
Mhm.
And I was really, really bad for about 14 seconds. I'm like, okay.
Who would ever
Until you
think
gotta
falling
respond and you're
trees
just like,
hurt
let's
so
do this.
much, you know?
what?
Who would ever think falling trees hurt so much?
Yeah.
Right?
And growing trees.
Not
Yeah,
I.
growing trees.
The tree's about as tall as I am.
Who knew that a tree was so hard to dodge? Like, you'd think.
Yeah, those things bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got some heft to them.
And they only
Nonsense.
leave one piece of wood.
Yeah.
One nice
I'm on
clean
you,
log.
trees. You sound like bullshit.
At least they give you-
Let's talk about why Ash doesn't like Smash. Ash, tell us why you don't like Smash.
Because when we're playing Smash, we're not watching anime.
It sucks at it.
Yeah, sure. No.
And backslash isn't a viable strategy.
No.
Actually,
Like,
it is.
I'm just not a big fan of fighting games.
Yeah.
You bought BlazBlue for the gameplay, right?
No.
Oh.
I actually did not know it was a fighting game until I put it in.
No, I can.
Literally bought it for the box.
I haven't played it, but I love the character design, so
BlazBlue is actually really fun.
I'm sure it is.
I was the only one.
Not as good as
that
Arcana
could play
Hearts,
that.
but it's okay.
And I beat you
I
at
still
that.
really
Oh,
love
that.
I'm not a big fan of Arcana Hearts.
I don't know what that would do though.
It's not. I don't think it's terrible, but it's not my go-to.
Does anything trump King of
I
Fighters?
just know there was,
No, nothing trumps King of Fighters.
there was that party.
see,
I was
that's
the
the
only
thing.
one that beat you. That's all that
Yeah.
matters.
Makuto's big King of Fighters fan. Huge King of Fighters fan.
We don't know why.
Because it's King of Fighters.
My two favorite fighting games
It's
are
in the name.
X-Men vs. Street Fighter and
Denki Buko?
Street
Dragon Ball
Fighter
Budokai?
Alpha 3.
Alpha 3 is really good, too.
Street Fighter Alpha 3 is arguably the best fighting game that ever came out ever.
I won't argue with that. It's really good.
But good luck finding people who have Street Fighter Alpha 3 now to play.
No, I
I'd
have it
love
at my
to
house.
see that go up on a virtual
I
console.
have it at my house.
You do?
Yes.
You need to bring it over here, son. We gotta play some
No,
Yeah,
we gotta
man.
come over to only watch anime.
Yes.
SFA 3, please. Bring it.
Yeah, no, that's one of my favorite games.
Oh, I love that.
I just like King of Fighters for the fighters. I think they have a wider range of different kind of fighters than Street Fighter does.
Street Fighter 5 is coming out soon, and I was looking at the preview for it. I don't like the direction we've gone with the 3D models and the 2D
Yeah,
environment.
when Capcom USA bought it, ever since they bought it, I think their game's been trash.
Yeah, it's been really weird, just high, like, nobody has biceps like that.
Yeah.
Nobody in the world. The weakest...
Do we play fighting games for realism?
Yeah.
no, I mean,
Just
just
like playing Rosalina and Luma.
no,
I don't know.
but when you compare the character designs of the original, like, anime-esque drawn characters
So we're a bit more real.
to the 3D models that they created
Ah, yes.
that are representations
like
of these
super
same
buff.
characters. What the hell
Their arms
happened
are
to
just tree
Chun-Li's
trunks.
legs? Like,
They're like bodybuilders.
yeah, every
Like
character.
Sakura's like a
the
bodybuilder. and I'm like,
scrawniest characters are huge bodybuilders, and then Zangief makes them look like. He's just insane. He's got biceps on biceps. Like,
yeah.
it-
I know. I like. There's a big community playing the new Street Fighter games that are just in love with it.
Mhm. And, but whenever they do a new one like Third Strike that came out not that long ago, I really like Third Strike.
They came out with a new Third Strike.
Yeah, it was, it's on, I think it's only on PC.
Oh, okay. Is it just a
It's another Third Strike game, so it's
Just
got
a
more
port,
characters,
or is it-
more...
Oh, it's an actual.
But it's
so
set
it's
up-
Street Fighter 3
it's,
something.
It's in the Third Strike format.
Okay.
of
That. See, I think that was the best one.
Yeah.
I really love that game.
Third Strike's pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I enjoyed that a lot.
Lincoln County is working to
Hey.
SF4 and SF5, I don't really like the way the models are set up. My nephews always want me to play with them because they know my brothers and I used to play Street Fighter 2 back in the day. So, like, yeah, come play me, and I'm just like, I don't get this. I don't like the too many biceps.
Yeah, I was kind of into 4 when it first came out, just because I was waiting for a new Street Fighter game.
Yeah.
But I just remember when it came out, I just wasn't very happy with it.
Yeah.
And obviously they came out with Super and Turbo since then, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that didn't save it for me. It wasn't the same as it was when
Right.
I was playing Third Strike or Alpha or even like I remember it was Capcom or something like that.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel the same.
The best 3D modeled Street Fighter is EX plus Alpha.
Yeah.
For those of you too,
That's what Makuto says when he
Too
disagrees.
for those of you too young to remember, imagine Virtual Fighter graphics,
Yeah.
but worse.
Yeah.
Like,
Terrible.
the characters look like they were wrapped in toilet paper, painted different colors, and put on the background of a beach.
Actually, probably the best 3D model Street Fighter game was not called Street Fighter. It was called Project Justice.
It's called what?
Project Justice.
Oh, Project Justice.
Yeah.
Yes. Project Justice is a very good Street Fighter game.
We're done. All right.
So, like I was saying a minute ago, Token Rambu is an online Japanese
Like Flash game, isn't it?
flash game. Yeah, some kind of flash game, and very popular in Japan. Virtually unknown here in America, and Bushiroad went ahead and did a collaborative effort with the people from Token Rambu. They created a set based on the characters from it. It is going to be its own clan. It focuses on 3 damage, having 3 damage or more in order to do effects.
A free limit break.
And I think it's cool. It's fun.
Like, I think the biggest reason they brought it over was they didn't want to have such a large card pool not available
Right.
to us, because they saw the madness that came out of the first Fighters collection and how we still haven't gotten those cards, and some people are still bitter.
Yep.
So I think that
there wasn't one before 14?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
And it had some pretty decent stuff.
It had some
game-changing stuff in that meta.
And we didn't get any of it. Well, we got like Metis or something like that.
Yeah, we got
We
got it late and we didn't get it.
It didn't affect us at all because we got it so late, and it was bad.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest reason. Is that people, if they're gonna play it, are probably gonna be attracted to how it plays, rather than the art. Because I think, while the art is appealing and well done, it's just not for me. Mostly because it's all dudes.
And actually, I really like the art on it. I think that the coloring's really good.
It's gorgeous art, but it's not appealing to me because
It's all dudes.
it's all dudes.
Yeah,
No dragons?
Yeah, not a dragon in that clan.
not a dragon, which makes me
It makes it
feel even
unplayable.
better about it.
There's a few traps in it.
Oh yeah, traps. That's how you get the dudes.
Tramps?
Traps.
Oh.
Perhaps. But as far as Cardfight Online goes, what I was trying to get to earlier was the 4 things that makes a game
You want to be a trap town?
internationally successful, and one of them is... and one of them is...
I guess we have to get that out first.
So mad. So mad.
I'm so confused what happened.
Okay. And one of those things is an internet card base, like a place to play online. Miko, Pokemon Online, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Well, technically,
Duelist Center, or whatever it's called.
there's been I don't know what the Cardfight one is called.
Cardfight Area.
Cardfight
But
area.
Cardfight area is different because it's just you have access to the card pool.
Right.
And Bushiroad can't make money that way.
Right.
Well, I mean, like there are ways to play it online. There may not be the official or even legal,
Well,
but there are ways.
the official way is the only way to make it a full integrated success. Because like Cockatrice has existed for years and years for Magic, so that you can test play decks. But it's not the same as playing Miko.
Because Miko, like, I don't think does Cockatrice, does it function in that the stack isn't necessarily regulated?
Oh, the way Cockatrice functions,
Like you have to
do
everything yourself.
Manual.
Yeah,
Everything is
that
manual.
sounds awful.
It is terrible. It is a terrible way to have to play a card game. If you're forced to do it because it's good practice anyway. But one of the things that is good about having a full working system is that you don't have to compare numbers all the time. You can just click on the thing and it'll do it
And it can
itself.
actually make you
It'll shuffle deck yourself.
It can actually help you make you a better player because you can see what happens when you try to add something to the stack when you normally think you couldn't or something like that.
Yeah.
Like respond to something that you didn't think you could. Like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Like I know a little bit about Amulet Bloom. It's a modern deck.
Mm-hmm.
That if you have 2, you get 2 untapped triggers, which means you can essentially ramp. Being a old Magic player, I never thought you could do that. I didn't think that would work.
Mm-hmm.
I figured you could get 1 and 2 is redundant.
Right.
But having that is good because it adds depth to the game.
Absolutely. Now, the problem I foresee with Cardfight Area, we talked about this a long time ago, back when 6 first came out. The way that Bushiroad effects stack is that you can do them in any order, regardless of when they come into play. So even though...
Well, as long as the triggers are the same.
Right. So even though your Garmor brought in
Oh, you're still on
a
that?
creature, I'm talking about it because it's important
Yeah, I
to the
know.
way this is going to function. So even though your Garmor brought in your Loop Ear, you could use your Loop Ear's ability before you used Gancelot's ability to give everything
Right.
plus
Which
5,000.
sounds wrong.
Which sounds wrong,
It's very, very legal.
is very, very legal in Cardfight. But how is the Cardfight online system going to be able to apply these effects in the correct order? Because Magic still has that problem. Mitgo, every once in a while, just freezes up when it tries to do a layering issue in the system. And with Pokemon, you can be sure that sometimes it's just wrong. Like, the way Pokemon Online plays can be very, very different from the way actual paper Pokemon is supposed to play. So, with Pokemon Online, they just kind of go, sometimes it's going to be wrong, deal with it. With Mitgo, they do their best to fix it, but they try to keep you, like, they try to keep the player abreast of the changes so that the system of Magic is hard to program. So they try to make it as like the game as they can. But mistakes are made on occasion, and they have to fix that. But with Cardfight, I feel like those interactions are going to be really hard to program.
They can be.
So
It's either going to be really simple to deal with, or like they figured it out and they're good, or it's going to be a mess.
Or it's going to be a mess, right? And as long as players understand that it's going to be a mess for a good year or two after it comes out, everyone can still have fun using it. And I look forward to having Cardfight online, because the reason I don't play Cardfight at home as often is because if I'm in the store, I'm either selling or I'm playing the game that I want to play on paper, which currently is Force of Will or Magic, Modern Magic. So I don't want to spend that time playing Cardfight, but that doesn't mean I don't want to play Cardfight at all. And Cardfight Online will give me a chance to play when I want to play.
So do you think they'll make you get your own, like, in a sense, rebuy cards again?
Well, yeah, that's another thing that'll probably make or break it, is if they give you all access to the card pool, there's no microtransactions, therefore they don't really make money past the initial payment. Is Mitgo, like, you just buy packs?
So the way Mitgo works is it has online trading functions so that you can trade items for items, including single cards. And then it has a store in which you can purchase packs and starter kits and things like that. And Pokemon has the same system. So often the way that you trade for things is you trade packs that you have not opened. So rather than something costing $4, it costs 2 packs of some set from a trader, from some sort of online shop. This works even better in Mitgo because they have tournament tickets that you can trade. So rather than... And each ticket is worth roughly $1. So if someone wants a copy of this card and it'd be $4 in real life, it might be worth $6 online. That would be 6 tournament tickets. And people can use those 6 tickets to get them into drafts and get them into sealed tournament events and things like that. So they have a legitimate worth in-game, but they make an excellent currency form for the system.
Right.
But yes, you can buy packs and open packs at random just like you do in real life, or you can use this ticket system to trade for the cards that you want. But cards online tend to be a little more pricey in trade
Than just buying them out.
than buying them outright.
That makes sense. Like if they do a Hearthstone system, which personally the Hearthstone system could definitely be improved. It's really infuriating sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if like they always say, yeah, here's a free pack for doing whatever. Well, the free pack usually turns into 40 dust.
Mm-hmm.
And 40 dust is enough to make you what? Common?
That sucks for you, damn. I got like.
I've been getting luckier like lately. Like I pulled out like here, but like,
Oh,
but on average, like your pack just turns into 40 dust, and 40 dust pretty much makes you a common, by itself. So, and there's no trading. There's the only way to assemble a collection is to get excess cards, disenchant them into dust, and then choose that dust and to make cards that you want. And the only way to keep doing that is to either chain arenas, which you have to be good at arena to do so, or at least decent, and or just throw more money at the game.
Right.
And there's streamers that have thrown hundreds of dollars at this game, and just barely have every card or something like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And that's a big thing for Miko too. Is that the whole reason this tournament trading thing works out is that you can only buy tickets from Miko. So Wizards is always getting a little bit of your cash in exchange for these trades that you're doing. Yes, I'm buying singles from a third source, but I'm using tournament tickets to do it, which I bought from you. So their hand is in every transaction.
So you're saying, so which one are you siding with? Giving you the whole card pool from the beginning, or buying packs?
I think that it is foolish to make a system and not make any money off of it.
Yes.
If I had to pick the better balance, I would say that Pokemon is kind of my favorite because
because you get rewarded for buying packs that you would normally do.
Right, and a lot of
Or the Dancy pack or whatever.
yeah, each individual.
You
pack
buy a
has
product
those.
in real life, you get that product in game.
Yeah, but also inside game you can win tradable packs. So if I play in a tournament and I win 3 packs from that tournament, I can use those 3 packs as currency in trading to get my Mega Palkia EX or whatever. Anyone
Mega
who's watching,
Palkia,
I know Mega Palkia EX is not a card. Shut up.
I think it's a Pokemon.
It's not. There's no Mega Evolution of Palkia yet.
Yet.
The
Time Lord cometh.
Right. But it's important to know that to work through the system the way that it trades. So I would go with that system more than any other. So yes, it means you get a couple of crappy beginners decks to begin with, and you have to play your way through some kind of one-player system in order to unlock some goodies. But in the end, you pace out pretty well, and you can build whatever deck you want to build, as long as you're not afraid to sacrifice either a little bit of money or a little bit of time getting what you need by winning.
Do you think they should make a compromise, like maybe everything before the G4 meta is available to you, and then you can buy packs, or maybe heavily discounted up to the set before the current set or whatever?
I mean,
just to catch people up on like a card collection.
I mean, no. I think what they'll do is what Miko does, which is both Miko and Pokemon start you with something like 100 to 200 cards that are generally bad but usable, and so you play from there and you build up from there. And then if you want to spend a little money to buy packs, sure, do it. Why not,
Yeah, I think the easiest way to get started in that game is that you want to, and you just drop like $50.
Right. Well, that's what I did with Miko, was I knew I wanted to try it. I knew I wanted to see if I was going to play Miko the same way I play Magic on paper. And so I dropped $50 right off the bat to see if it made it so that I could do anything. And I built up a decent deck. I started playing it for a while. I was having fun, but I wasn't going infinite. The system was a little too hard to use, and I just found out that Magic Online wasn't for me. But Pokemon Online I'll play all day. And the Yu-Gi-Oh! One, from what I understand, it's very succinct. It's almost too succinct because people can find out how insane some of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks are, because the computer system can automatically tally things. So somebody put up a video of when Pendulum Summons came out for Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was just this guy going, special summon, do this, special summon, and then he killed his opponent in one turn in less than 3 minutes, because the system could move fast enough to do all that. So
you didn't have to actually explain what was going on. It was just like that.
Right, exactly. It just went bop 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 bop. You're done. And So people were looking and they're like, oh, crap.
Pop!
Penal summons are the shit.
If you like tournament kills.
Yeah,
I don't think they're good for card games.
I don't either. But I think that's a discussion for another day. I don't know. What do you think about Cardfight online?
Me?
Yeah.
Which way do you think they should go about it?
I think, I don't know, there's so many cards that are technically useless. I think a disenchant system would be good to a point where, yeah, you can, but I still think trading should be enabled. Just in case, like, you know, usually the way Hearthstone is that if you disenchant a epic that takes 400 dusted crabs, you only get 100 dust for it. And I think you just get a fourth of the amount of dust no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you can still retain value of it by trading it. Somebody else that wants it, be like, hey, here's this for 100% of its worth for something that I want that's 100% of the worth, rather than getting a fourth of the percent or a fourth of it
Mm-hmm.
to something that I have to keep building on.
Now, out of curiosity, with Hearthstone, let's say I want card X, which is infinitely better than card Y at the same rarity. Would the trading system want to be, could I trade you 2 cards for the one?
Well, there is no trading in Hearthstone.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's no...
If you have a rare that you want to change to another rare, it takes 4 rares to do so.
You have to break it down. Okay.
Yes.
So that would be an interesting combination of the two.
So I think having the trading function and a disenchant function where, yeah, if you have bulk, you can disenchant it for, I think a fourth is good. Fourth's a good number. And then you can still trade with, you know, anyone, you know, public forum, whatever. But I don't, like, getting started is obviously the hardest way. Like, I hate Duels of the Planeswalkers or whatever, where you have a fixed card set, and you can't expand on it. Those are dumb.
And, you know, since when they mentioned that Cardfight Online was going to be on Steam, I thought that that's what we were looking at, was like the first, like, sort of one-player online card fight system.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
That would be terrible.
Oh, I think they have, like, a Japanese, like, it never came to America, but there's a game where you play AI on DS.
Yeah, there's a couple of video games, yeah, so.
And I think they do okay, but
Yeah.
even still. Like, as long as, you know, I think microtransactions are good for the online game in order to get started. And then once you get started, being able to get the cards you need and want are good. Now, something I don't know if anyone knows is how many sets are going to be available day one.
Mm-hmm.
If it's all of them, then obviously some sets are just going to be useless.
Yeah.
So,
Didn't Magic Online have a system where you could trade like a playset and get like real life cards?
Yes, it still does. If you have to create an entire master set of either non-foil or foil of that set.
what's a master set? A play set?
A master set is one copy of every card from the set.
Oh, okay.
So if you wanted Dragons of Tarkir, you'd have to get one copy of every Dragons of Tarkir card, either all non-foil or all foil.
And then they would send you those
And
real life equivalents?
you turn those in. They become nothing on your Mitgo account. You pay $25 or something for shipping, and they send you one copy of every card.
Does that work
from
for
Dragons of Tarkir.
Does that work for Vintage Masters?
No.
Oh.
There's a lot of rules.
Black
to
Lotus, please.
There's a lot of rules to it. You can only do it for
Standard or something?
sets that are
In standard?
at the furthest, I think, a year past where standard stopped it. And
So Theros would be the last thing. So,
well, no, Theros is in the block
I guess
right now.
Ravnica. No.
So you could do Ravnica is the block right for it. So you could still do up to Ravnica right now. But soon Theros is going to be rotating out of block, but you'll still be able to do Theros for a little while longer. And if it only works if they're all foil or all non-foil. So if you have every card in non-foil except number 27, and number 27 you have in foil in triplicate, you've got to find someone who's willing to trade you a non-foil version if in order to get your
Do they have? They
second
don't have a disenchant system.
There is no disenchant system, and I'd actually never heard of a disenchant system other than in Hearthstone. So in Pokemon, I have a lot of just unplayable cards.
Yeah, which would
Like
be great to get rid of.
they just sit in my collection, and I mean they're not taking up any real space. They're just digital space cards, right? So they're
Right,
not,
but they do nothing.
but they do nothing, and I never want them, and they never. And I would love it if I could turn 100 of them into one rare that I want. You know, like I would do that in a heartbeat. But
Yeah, there are times where I break up play sets because I know I can get them back, just to build a deck that I really want to build, and I do that, and then next thing I know, I have all the cards I benched, no problem. And I was able to, so that's always fun.
yeah. And I do that a lot in regular card games and paper card games training. But I think I would definitely like to see a little split between the two. But the problem is that there's a place in the middle where Bushiroad makes money off of it,
All right.
and so it's just a question of how much money do they want to make off of it.
Yeah. Like, is the game free to play off the bat, or do you have to pay for a copy?
I have not heard yet. I have no information on that.
I don't think they've really revealed any yet. It looks like it might be, isn't Midgo free to get into, right?
Miko is technically free to play, yes.
Yeah, so it looks,
Can you get anywhere free to play?
No.
Okay.
right now it looks free to play, like to get into it, and what would be smart to do is probably make a system where you can play to get packs and
The
shit.
client itself is free.
Okay.
But there's absolutely no way you can play Miko without spending at least some money on tournament tickets.
Yeah, like if you want to get into Hearthstone and you are able to chain arenas, you can get a sizable collection with little money.
Yeah. And there are some people who are good enough at Miko to go infinite. And for those of you out there that don't know what go infinite means, literally means what it sounds like. You put in 2 tickets to
You do a tournament.
do a tournament, you win 16 packs from that tournament, and then you turn those packs into the cards you want and more tournament tickets.
Yeah, that's basically how you would chain arenas.
Yeah, so that you can keep playing and keep getting your stuff better. Going infinite in paper card games is very hard to do. You have to put a lot of time and effort into it.
All you gotta do is crack a Jinzo, am I right?
Or you can crack a Jinzo like good old Diesel. Should I tell that story?
No, I think you have.
Okay. But in online games, it's much, much harder because the randomizer makes it that way. And if you're not as familiar with the way to play online as you are on paper, then you can make mistakes that cost you games and therefore inhibit your ability to go infinite. I could not figure out how to play Miko well enough to go infinite on it, so I didn't do it.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they have a business model, and I'm sure they'll work out. They'll change it.
Yeah.
Bushiroad.
Bushiroad loves change. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully, it looks like it's a step in the right direction. From what we've seen over the last few months, Bushiroad's been making a lot of right direction steps. But we've mentioned before that they've kind of punished themselves with a lot of the bad decisions they made in the past. But this online thing is definitely working really well, and also giving us Token Ranmu. It was very surprising, but it's also a good step. That way, we're not behind the meta too much compared to the Japanese meta.
Assuming Token Ranmu is any good in the end.
As long as they don't like version E it, because that is totally ruin waste for me in English. So, anyone have any final words or anything to say?
Never eat cranberries.
Final words.
Let there be light. No.
Guys, and this has been Ash and Reggie Goddess with the rest of the crew here on our Podversation.
Enjoy the candle that never stops moving.
We're going to we'll be pushing more, hopefully, somewhat original content. You can kind of think of this as a, it's a regular it's a Podversation.
Season 2?
Cat.
Podversation. Got our state of plays. Dee's been thinking about doing a kind of a segment every week.
Sell it to D.
We'll look about.
Potential force of will.
We'll look into a segment for Qoheleth. Maybe maybe the segment will be about him searching for a segment.
My Vanguard opening act song will come out on the channel whenever it's done.
Huh? Little D in the house.
So yeah, you might hear him sing his own opening song one day. And so we got some nice things to look forward to, and yeah, signing out.
Peace.
Peace.
Late.